All right, what's good, everybody? Peace. So here we are back at NTTV headquarters. I got a blunt lip. Got my dog right there, just looking at me all funny. But so this is gonna be pretty much a review. Not even pretty much. This is going to be a review of the ESPN's top 10 list that they put out not too long ago, and I'm pretty late to it. But this is something that I've been wanting to do for a minute actually. So um if we can, I think they're gonna show it. I haven't watched this one yet, but if they show it, I think they should end up showing the list actually, all people next to each other, and I'm pretty much gonna give a review on my thoughts, my 2 cents of what I feel.
Let's just skip right to the top five because I know that's what you want. Irvin Magic Johnson coming in ranked as the fifth best player in NBA history.
In my opinion, that's a pretty good spot for Magic. I would argue that he's number four. In my opinion, I would say LeBron just passed Larry Bird, and LeBron holds the number five spot. But that's just my opinion.
He, of course, earned 3 MVPs, count them, 5 titles. Next, you've got 11-time NBA champ. I know the two of you know Bill Russell, ranked fourth, earned 5 MVPs over his career, and, of course, 11 All-NBA teams.
And Bill Russell being number four, I think that's a good spot. But me personally, I would have him at number 2, number 1, or number 3. Either one of those positions, I think he'll be fine at. I wouldn't really argue, just because you have to respect the history of the game. All right, no one has still accomplished what he's accomplished. Maybe statistically, when you look at it, what he's done, he didn't put up numbers that just jumped out at you like Kareem or Wilt or Shaq's numbers did, or Tim Duncan in the finals and things like that. He was dominant though. That's one thing that we do have to give credit for. And pardon me once again because I am smoking. So, but Bill Russell, in my opinion, I have him at number 2, and/or number 1, and/or number 3. But because, once again, just because of the respect for the elders, you have to have them up there. No one has still yet to accomplish what he's done, even though there were only 8 teams when he was winning all those championships in the NBA, or was it the ABA? Or whatever. Yeah, I think it was the ABA. Or whenever he was winning all of those championships, yeah, he did play with other Hall of Famers too, but they didn't win the finals until they drafted Bill Russell. All right, and that's why I also have Larry Bird just outside of the top 5 now, because LeBron, he had knocked him off to me. Well, I still look. It's just because LeBron is still dominating this late in his career and actually has won another final. So that's really the only reason, honestly. But I don't think he's a better small forward than Larry Bird, in my opinion. Because once again, it was the same thing with Larry Bird. Larry Bird had pretty much the Bill Russell effect. You add Larry Bird onto your team, now they're championship contenders pretty much. I think when he was drafted to the Boston Celtics, they were only a 29-win team. All right, when they drafted him, and him being the only addition to their lineup, he finished 3rd in MVP voting, and they were a 55-23-win team, I want to say. Something like that. But they were a 55-win team, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all can look that up. But still, he had that type of effect. You have to understand, even though, they didn't do, things necessarily that just jumped out of the stat sheet. Larry Bird did, because he wasn't physically dominant. He was the first player to ever record a 50-40-90 season. He's the reason that we even have that statistic. All right. LeBron's never had a 50-40-90 season ever in his life. All right. So he created that stat pretty much. Steve Nash damn near averaged a 50-40-90 throughout his entire career. I think he's off by like 0.2, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, that's why I have those two ranked so high, in my opinion. But let's keep going.
The league's scoring champ, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, ranked 3rd by this panel. He
I don't have a reason with him being top 3. I have him at number 3 in my list.
won 6 titles and a record 6 MVPs. 6. And then at number
God damn, 6.
2, they have ranked LeBron James 2nd overall, the only active player in the top 10. LeBron, of course, a 4-time MVP and has won 3 NBA titles. And at number 1, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. You know him, you love him.
All right, so really what I wanted to touch on really is an aspect that they did with Kobe Bryant. So you see that Kobe wasn't in the top five, but after Kobe had won that last championship against the Celtics, and they ended up making that trade for Dwight Howard and Steve Nash and things like that, right? They had him ranked at number two. ESPN did another top 10 where they had Kobe Bryant ranked at number two because if he were to get a sixth championship, he would have been to more finals than Michael Jordan, and he would have just as much finals wins as Michael Jordan, assuming that they were going to get to the finals and win. All right, because that was another quote unquote super team that they built up but failed miserably on their fucking face. So ESPN, you have to understand. No disrespect to LeBron, but he's not number two. Okay, they had Kobe at number two. Now Kobe is number 9 on their list, or was he number 10? Regardless, it's brand building for the NBA, and you have to understand that that's what they're doing. I have no problem with LeBron. LeBron's clearly one of the greatest players of all time. All right, top 5 in my opinion now, but but that's just me once again.
You watch him every Sunday night, taking the honors as the best player in the history of the league.
Wow.
6 titles, 6 MVPs, and I could just spend. Jeffrey Jordan, you know him, you love him, you watch him every Sunday night, taking the honors as the best player in the history of the league. 6 titles, 6 MVPs, and I could just spend the next half hour listing off Michael Jordan's accolades. But Kendrick, that's an esteemed list. Do you buy LeBron as the second best player all time? Is he in the right spot?
Well, if they're asking Kendrick Perkins, we already know what he's going to say. No, he's number 1. He's the greatest player of all time. He's already his GOAT. Kendrick Perkins is clearly one of the people who's been put and hired on the ESPN and to television by LeBron James. He's the one who's given him a job. Same with James Jones. LeBron James has a lot of quote-unquote fanboys planted throughout the media, just like Kevin Durant said. All right, that's why a lot of these players are starting to come out and say these types of things because they already understand that LeBron is a brand. That's why he tries to brand himself outside of the NBA and off the court as being some activist and this great public figure. LeBron James is an entertainer. He's great at that. He deserves nothing but accolades for that. Especially because of his upbringing. All right, I don't think he deserves anything less than what he's getting. He's definitely surpassed everything that he was, allegedly supposed to get from coming into the NBA. So that's one thing that we have to give him credit for. But being the number 2 greatest player of all time, no, that's just ridiculous.
Ooh, Rachel, it's tough, and this is a debate that could go on for a lifetime. But I gotta put King James at that number 1 spot. I mean, if you look at LeBron. Yeah, Pete, and if you look at the body of work that LeBron James put over, not only through his NBA career, but since in high school, I haven't seen a guy that played at that level in my lifetime. And when you talk about LeBron James, a guy whose career averages 27 points, 7.5 rebounds, 7.5 assists, and he's shooting 50% from the field for a career. And when you look at LeBron James and you talk about what he's done in his NBA career, yes, he's won 3 NBA championships, 4-time MVP, 3 times final MVP. But guess what, Pete? Over 50% of his career,
Well, now 4 for both of those.
Spent in the NBA finals. That speaks volumes. And to me, LeBron is the best all-around player I've ever seen. And so I'm going to give you a quick story, you and Rachel. When you look back when Bron left the Cavs, the owner, Dan Gilbert, wrote a story about put out a letter about LeBron James saying, oh, he's a Benedict owner. He killed LeBron. And what LeBron did, he won 2 titles in Miami. He came back to Cleveland. He put his pride aside because he knew it was more about the fans, and he owed it to the...
Well, let me catch up with you, Kendrick Perkins, because first of all, LeBron James demanded and guaranteed that he would win 8, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, but 8 championships in Miami. And he's the greatest player of all time because he won 2. Right? And 2 of those finals that he went to were against Tim Duncan and the Spurs. The super team Spurs, my fault. Now the Spurs are a super team. When in the NBA, they were not. In that era, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, and Tim Duncan were not playing at that high of a level their entire careers. Tony Parker was hurt at the very end of that season and missed most of that season. Well, he didn't miss most of it. He played most of that season through injuries. Anyone who actually remembers that finals knows that in those last 2 seasons. He was injured. Manu Ginobili was old as hell. He was 35, 36 years old. As well as Tony Parker. He was, 33, 34 years old? He wasn't too old, but he was old. All right, he got drafted at 21 years old? Anyways, Tim Duncan was 39 years old when they lost to Tim Duncan and the Spurs, and that's a super team. And Kawhi Leonard was only 21 years of age. Kawhi Leonard wasn't a defensive player of the year yet. That was not Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard became a finals MVP and then started winning and getting accolades. He started to make his name once they beat LeBron James. All right, a 22-year-old Kawhi Leonard, because the first time around, he was only 21 years old. He was a rookie. Okay? Tim Duncan was old as noodles. Tim Duncan was old as a bitch, man. Like, now we're trying to go back in history and revise history. So that's one thing about Mr. LeBron James. Okay? Another thing, when he went back to Cleveland, he only won 1 title there in Cleveland. All right, the first time around, he got swept and he had to leave and go build his own super team with another league and finals MVP, Dwayne Wade. All right, and another first scorer and another all-team player in Chris Bosh, who's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. All right, no doubt about it. Then he plays along with, who was it? Kyrie Irving, the best handler and the best finisher who I've ever seen in my life. Both. Best ball handles and the best finisher at the rim. Great clutch scorer. Phenomenal clutch scorer. He also could have won finals MVP. All right, when LeBron James, I think it was game 5, maybe game 6, when they both, Kyrie and LeBron, when they both had 40, Kyrie had more points on less attempts, and he had a way better shooting, well, not a way better, but he had a much better shooting percentage than LeBron. He was way more efficient. He was much more dominant throughout the game. So you could, and it was Kyrie who hit that big shot. If it wasn't for Ray Allen making that shot, LeBron James would be 1 and 7? He would have been 1 and 7 in the finals. Maybe 2 and 7. 2 and 7 in the finals. Well, now because he won again, he'd be 3 and 7. So come on, what are we really talking about? And let's not talk about Golden State. All right. Golden State was not a super team until they got Kevin Durant. Golden State is a super team in the system that they play. In the system that they played, because now the whole NBA shoots threes now. So they were a super team in that system because they were drafted and put together so well. They were not a super team until they got Kevin Durant. And we've seen what happened once they got Kevin Durant. It was over. They didn't stand a chance. And LeBron James, if you're supposed, you can't get swept twice in the finals throughout your career. All right, Magic Johnson got swept in the finals, I think, by who? The Pistons? Did the Pistons fucking sweep them niggas? I think so. And that was once. And then he had a gentleman sweep 4-1 against Michael Jordan and the Bulls with James Worthy. And he still had, greats on that squad. And he led that team to the finals without Kareem. So and we don't even talk about how is he greater than Magic? If Magic has more finals victories, he's been to the finals just as much times. And Magic actually won, you saying LeBron James being more versatile. Magic won a finals MVP while playing center. All right. We've never seen LeBron James dominate as a center. All right. We've seen him guard centers and stretches throughout times of his career, but come on, bro. LeBron James just started playing defense again. All right. So, anyways.
State of Ohio, and he delivered. He delivered a championship in great fashion. He beat a 72-9 Golden State Warriors team, who's arguably one of the best teams in NBA history. And then guess what else he did? He had the best finals comeback in NBA history, down 3-1. That's why I have to put LeBron James at the #1 spot. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So just from that alone, just from one good point, he's the greatest player of all time. He was the only one. What about Jamal Murray? Jamal Murray was the only one to come back down 3-1 2 times in the playoffs. No one has ever done that. LeBron's never done that in his career. So is Jamal Murray greater? What about the Oklahoma City Thunder, who was up 3-1 against the Golden State Warriors? So are they the third or the second greatest team of all time as well? Come on, Kendrick.
Definitely has some great performance, and he's not done yet, but it's hard for me to put him there until his career ends.
And let me not say that LeBron doesn't have great performances. LeBron has had phenomenal performances throughout his entire career. He's came up short multiple times, and I mean multiple times. And no one has ever had a meltdown as big as he did, ever. Okay, Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers meltdown was pretty big, but it wasn't as big as it wasn't as big as being at the finals, playing against a sick Dirk Nowitzki and no other superstar. There were no superstars on that team. Dirk Nowitzki was not a superstar. Tyson Chandler was not a superstar. He was an all-star in the all-defensive, all-team, first team, I think first or second team. I want to say it was first team. But still. That team did Jason Terry, J.J. Barea, a 34-year-old Jason. I mean, come on, man. LeBron James has had multiple meltdowns, and no one's just had as big a meltdown like that ever. That is the biggest meltdown of all time. No superstar has ever had that big of a meltdown in any sport, ever, in the history of ever. So, come on.
I have to wait and see. But, Perk, I got Kareem at number 2, Jordan Ives number 1, because, I mean, if you look at his body of work, I mean, the guy is 6-time MVP, 5-time champion, NBA's leading scorer. He not only did it in the pros, but if we talking about just overall basketball, you want to see what he did in college? Yeah, he got 3 of those in college too. National Player of the Years. Come on.
Yeah, he's speaking facts. Kareem is definitely up there. That's why I have him up there. And you just have to pay homage to certain things. How could you surpass that?
Talk about that. Come on, this guy, he's arguably, the greatest, but I got Jordan for his record, 6-0, 6 MVPs, 6 finals MVPs. Kareem.
Let's not also talk about him winning MVP and Defensive Player of the Year, who only 2 other people have done that. No one at the shooting guard position. They were both big men, being Giannis Antetokounmpo and Hakeem Olajuwon, who didn't even make this list. Hakeem Olajuwon needs to be on this list. You need to take Kobe Bryant ass off this list and put Hakeem Olajuwon on there. All right, the only player in history, all right, to be the shooting guard and be the best defensive player in the league at that time, okay, and to win MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. He should have won Defensive Player of the Year multiple times. He was the league scoring leader, 9, 10 times. I think LeBron has LeBron ever been the scoring leader? Like ever? Does he even have 3? Anyways, he was the steals leader, I want to say 2 times, maybe 3 times. Has LeBron James ever been this steal? No. Let me see. Michael Jordan, what else has he done? Dominated. He revolutionized the game of basketball on the global brand. LeBron James has not done that. Stephen Curry has. Let's also talk about Michael Jordan having to stop the most Hall of Famers of all time from winning championships. How many great Hall of Famers did LeBron James stop from winning? Tim Duncan? Oh, no, Tim Duncan beat him in the finals 2 times. Out of 3 times that they played, so not him. Paul Pierce? No, because Paul Pierce won the finals in his era. Kobe Bryant? No, Kobe Bryant was dominating still in his era. Who else could we say? Dirk Nowitzki? No, Dirk Nowitzki dominated LeBron in the finals. Dang, who else? Carmelo? We can say Carmelo. Come on, shit, who else? Kevin Durant? Nah, Kevin Durant dominated his fucking ass in the finals 2 times out of 3 times they played. Let me see. I'm just trying to think, man. Like, who has LeBron really stopped from winning the finals? Like, I gotta really think about that. You know what I'm saying? He stopped Dwight from winning, but then Dwight just won with LeBron. So that's a good thing. LeBron had to team up with a whole bunch of other All-Stars to win his motherfucking finals. How many All-Stars did Michael Jordan play with? Oh, there was only one other All-Star on every single on every other championship team that LeBron played, or that Michael Jordan played on. I apologize. That was who? Oh, Scottie Pippen, because Dennis Rodman was 35 when he teamed up, 34 with when he teamed up with Michael Jordan and the Bulls, and Michael Jordan won 3. He already 3-peated without Dennis Rodman. Oh yeah, right. Steve Kerr. Oh, well, he's not a Hall of Famer. He is as a coach, but he was a role player. He never did anything ever. Let me see. Cool coach. Well, he was a Manu Ginobili. He was like a great 6 man off the bench. But come on. You know what I'm saying? Like I really got to think about who LeBron does stop. What else? What else has Michael Jordan done? Well, there's still none of these things that LeBron's done, honestly. So, you know, let me think about all the greats he's held from winning championships. Patrick Ewing. Gary Payton. Well, Gary Payton won, but that was when Michael Jordan retired, and he was on the Heat. He didn't even play a role because Gary Payton even had to run the team up with the freaking Pistons back in '04. Or no, with the Lakers when they got smoked by the Pistons back in '04. And Karl Malone. Oh, he stopped Karl Malone from winning. 2 times? Back to back? Yeah. Charles Barkley. You know, who else was great back then? Clyde Drexler actually ended up winning with Hakeem when he retired. But he never won against Michael Jordan. Anyways, who else did he stop? Reggie Miller. You know, the list goes on. But anyways, let's get back to this.
Only has 2 final MVPs, so I got to put Kareem there. But at the end of the day, also, you threw out stats. I heard you throw out stats. So, you know, when we talk about the greatest, is this about accomplishments or about stats? Because Kareem has the stats. Now, if you want...
Thank you. And if we want to talk about people being versatile, what about Kareem? Exactly. What about Magic Johnson?
Talk about championships and rings.
Wouldn't they both be greater than Michael Jordan?
What about Bill Russell? 11 of them, Perk, and 5 MVPs. He don't have the stats LeBron got, but definitely the accolades. So, you know, I'll push LeBron a little bit further down the line.
Oh, no, Paul, we not going to let you do that because my man LeBron, he the only one that's been averaging 28 points a game and damn near a double-double at the end of his career. Like I said, he averaged 50% for his career shooting from the field. So, even though he only taking layups his entire career, you know, and even though he only making layups and dunks, that's a field goal. Michael Jordan, he only shot 49. And that's only because them last 2 seasons messed up his... Once again, there's just so much you can say about Michael Jordan, bro. The man came into the league as a rookie shooting 53% from the field, all right, as a shooting guard. 53% from the... No, was it 51%? And then ended up shooting 53. His shooting percentage just kept going up. All right, Michael Jordan was a 50% for a career field goal, but over 50%, well over 50%. But his last 2 seasons in Washington just messed that up. And he was still shooting at the high 40s, the 47s, the 48s, the 46%. 46 is not really good, but 47 is really, really good. But anyways.
Because of that. But he still has a lot of body of work to go. So, you know, we'll see.
By the way, all the viewers out there are saying, of course Paul Pierce isn't giving LeBron the number 2 spot. And they're saying, of course Kendrick Perkins is giving LeBron the number 1 spot. You guys definitely have your positions staked out. I do know that Michael Jordan hasn't had the last word either because, of course, we're going to...
But my thing is, how did Kobe go from being number 2 all the way to number 9? And Shaq was far more dominant than Kobe Bryant, so...
See more from him on Sunday.
And how was Shaq behind Kobe? Anyway.
Night. I want to get back to the rest of the top 10 that ESPN.com has put together.
Finally, they pulled this shit up.
Guys, because Wilt Chamberlain, Larry Bird, Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, and Shaq round out the top.
Okay, so I did a podcast already on this exact topic, this debate. I'll have, you know, Michael Jordan, Bill Russell, or Kareem at number 3, or 1, 2, and 3. Magic at number 4, Bill Russell number 5, 6 LeBron, number 7 I would have Shaq, number 8 I would have Hakeem, number 9 I would have Tim Duncan, number 10 Wilt Chamberlain would be above all. I'm sorry. 6 would be LeBron, 7 would be Wilt. I'm sorry. 8 would be Shaq, 9 would be Hakeem, 10 would be Tim Duncan. All right, so that's my top 10. I'm just really trying to understand how Kobe took the hugest leap of all time from number 2 behind Michael Jordan to number 9. Kobe's top 5. Kobe's in everyone's top 5. What's up with Kobe Bean being so far off, bro? What a respect for Kobe Bean Bryant, man. Who did he ever shoot above 47? He's never even had a season shooting 50% from the field. Even though that's pretty hard to do when Kobe played in a very, very defensive era. He actually is the one that shot the best out of everyone in that era, though. Well, at least percentage-wise, because Paul Pierce, they were shooting in the 43s, the 44s, the 42s, the Grant Hills, all of those type of dudes. They were the Tracy McGrady's. Them dudes were shooting in the low 40s. Kobe was shooting in the high 40s, but that's because very early on, he wasn't facing no type of double teams because he had Shaq on his team. Shaq was getting double and triple teamed. And then once they got smoked by the Pistons, because Kobe didn't allow Shaq to get the ball and dominate, even though Shaq averaged 31 points a game, how do you lose? I'll tell you how. Kobe Bean. He doesn't deserve to be in the top 10 in my opinion. But that is just me.
10 all-time players according to ESPN.com's NBA writers. So, Paul, who is the best player left out of this top 10 list?
Hakeem Olajuwon.
And why?
There's only one name, and it's so disrespectful.
You know, that's a tough list, but I got to go with the dream. Hakeem
You feel me? Let it be known.
Olajuwon. Yes, folks. Hakeem Olajuwon. And he doesn't get enough credit.
Even Kendrick was like, yeah, that's a good point. You see Kendrick reaction.
Even though he won his 2 championships when Jordan retired, check this out. He is the
And this is one thing about him winning them 2 championships when Jordan retired. That nigga Hakeem Olajuwon might have beat them niggas, but even if they played the Bulls 2 times, they probably still would have went back to back. They for surely would have won 1 finals. For surely. Because Hakeem was just... I didn't watch him in his time, but, when I go back and watch all the old playoff series and things like that, this man was dominant, especially against the Shaq and Penny Magic. They were very, very young and precocious, as Chronicles of Judah would say, but still. That man, Hakeem Olajuwon, was dominant. He used to kill Shaq, too.
only player in
And he was old as dirt.
NBA history to win MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and Finals MVP in the same year.
Pay homage, bro. LeBron's never done that, bro. But LeBron's still greater than Hakeem, in my opinion. But, shit, Michael Jordan never did that, honestly. Nobody's did that. God damn, man. He's not on the top 10. That's so disrespectful, bro.
No one else in NBA history has done that in the same year. So, yes, Hakeem Olajuwon is the one player that stands out to me that is not in the top 10. And you look at all these players who accomplished so much. No one has ever accomplished that feat.
Hey, P, listen, I'm right there with you. I got to give the dream his flowers. I'm a Texas native. I grew up watching Hakeem Olajuwon, Clutch City. Never underestimate the heart of a champion in Rudy T. But listen, I got to go with Isaiah Thomas.
Oh, yeah, or Isaiah Thomas. That's who I have at 11 right outside the top 10. Honestly, is Isaiah Thomas. I was actually just thinking about that.
I don't know what it is about what people, the
And if you heard the podcast, you already know. If you know, you know.
personal beef that they have with Isaiah. But listen, when you think Isaiah Thomas, he beat Magic. He beat Bird. He beat Jordan.
In the same year.
He beat all those guys to win the championship, and in my opinion, he's the greatest little man to ever play the game of basketball.
Come on, man. What the fuck? Look. What is this, Isaiah? What is this? All the hands that's been on that, bro. You licking the champagne off the... Issues, my friend. Issues.
And we heard it on the Last Dance documentary. Michael Jordan himself said that Isaiah Thomas is the second greatest point guard of all time. So,
Hey, no doubt about it. What LeVar Ball say on that brick when they had him on the TV show? Like, his jump shot gonna get better. Bang bang! And they had that broke ass shot clanking off the back of the rim.
but that speaks volumes. So,
Yeah.
I'm starting the campaign. Hey, free Zeke. Free Zeke. Free Zeke.
No cap, free my nigga Zeke, man.
Perk, it was such a great moment because he's like, I hate him, but he's the second best point guard of all time behind Magic. But let me make sure y'all know.
Look at Paul Pierce laughing at that lame ass. Why are you laughing at that? Kendrick over there. Look at Kendrick fat ass. Only look, you know they both trying to pipe. Let me go back a little bit.
Hate him. Perk, it was such a great moment because he's like, I hate him, but he's the second best point guard of all time behind Magic. But let me make sure y'all know.